By that, I mean we've been live.
Says loading video. There we go.
Ah. Okay. So, snack time. We're promised. That's pretty good.
We are at least an hour ahead of schedule compared to last time.
Yeah.
So yeah, which means absolutely.
At this rate, we're gonna be doing snack time at 4 a.m. We'll just keep getting earlier and earlier every time.
Yeah. But yeah, so welcome to the second episode of Snack Time. I am Graham.
I am Henry.
And I'm Dracula.
Oh, okay.
Andrew. I'm Andrew.
Special guest Dracula.
Yeah.
Aren't you kind of a bat?
Wait,
yeah, I was going to say, Graham, even though you and I don't technically have souls because we're gingers, Andrew does kind of look a bit like Dracula. He could pull it off. Not the Dracula in the game we're seeing right now, because Andrew I hope you don't look like that.
Yeah, I don't. I do need to get a haircut, but other than that, it's...
Yeah, okay. Okay, Andrew, what is going on with Lords of Shadow 2?
Oh, man. So, I'm Dracula here. I just woke up after, 1,000 years. And I'm really not doing too good right now. Because, my grandson, Simon Belmont, killed me. In case you see, this is kind of... Yeah, alright, so here's the thing. Lords of Shadow kind of reboots the whole Castlevania mythos. So the father of Trevor Belmont and the grandfather of Simon Belmont, Gabriel Belmont, becomes Dracula at the end of the first game. I'm just gonna get spoilers out there right now, because I assume if anyone's watching this and they haven't already played the first game, they probably don't care. I'm just gonna say
okay, yeah.
He becomes Dracula.
It's a good thing I'm sitting down. Okay, keep going.
Okay, so yes. So you become Dracula, Gabriel, the main character from the first game, and then in Mirror of Fate, which is the 3DS game, which later was ported...
Let's not talk about Mirror of Fate.
Okay, well, I need to mention it real quick.
Fine.
It basically, you play as both Trevor and Simon. I see. I haven't actually played Mirror of Fate, but you play as both Trevor and Simon, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So and then Simon defeats Dracula, and then he goes to sleep. I'm getting beaten up by this goat thing, but I think that's supposed to happen, so it's okay.
Okay, but
and then now Dracula's woken up because his friend Zobek from the first game, voiced by Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, Dracula, what's up? Remember when we defeated Satan, 1,000 years ago? He's coming back, so we should probably take care of that because he's mad at both of us. So
you're Dracula and you're also still the good guy?
Kind of, yes.
Are you Dracula and Gabriel Belmont?
Oh, well, Gabriel Belmont is Dracula, yes, but he's just called Dracula now.
He's just called Dracula now. Okay.
And I don't know. What do you guys think? Who do you think is the worst of the two evils, Dracula or Satan? I mean, I don't know. Satan sounds worse to me.
Dracula's certainly cooler. I mean, Dracula's got the whole seduction thing going on. Although, I mean, the devil usually works better when nobody sees him, but Dracula can just come straight out because he kind of he's got that suave look vampires are in right now. I would go with Dracula being certainly more fan friendly.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Dracula is at least sometimes a bat. Yeah. And as we established, bats are the worst.
Oh, that's a good point. We don't.
Therefore, Dracula is the worst sometimes. I don't know if that
checks out. That's science. You can't argue that.
So Bat Dracula is the worst, followed by Satan, and then non-Bat Dracula, or is the order sometimes Bat make it worse? I don't know.
But then Satan can appear attractive, is one of his things.
Okay.
In I guess you could say in the first Lords of Shadow, he is certainly appearing human-like.
This is interesting footage we're streaming right now.
You're skipping all the cutscenes here, and you're going on so low. Okay,
I want to get to the game. I want to get to the good stuff. Right?
You are sucking the life out of that poor woman.
Yeah.
What did she? Is that you doing that, or is that someone else?
This is Dracula.
This is Dracula. Okay. Well, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. That is what they do.
Yeah.
This is great.
God, he needs a manicure.
This is the family-friendly sort of content that we love around here.
Yeah, going from Spelunky to this is quite a change.
Man. So,
sorry. Let's let Andrew continue the awesome storyline.
Well, I mean, that's basically it, right?
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm
Dracula. I came back after 1,000 years. Hey, this is Zobek in a fancy suit. And we're going to team up and try to defeat Satan's acolytes who are trying to resurrect Satan, and that's that.
Does Patrick Stewart do the voice in this one, too?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, see, there's a positive for a game right there. It can't go wrong with Patrick Stewart. Well, yeah, he does look
that's really kind of the weird thing about Konami in the modern era, is that it has this, like, generally it cheaps out on everything, except for some reason is signing, like, every headliner voice actor, and that just seems to be where their money goes these days.
At least for the super big stuff. I mean, I guess at this point, Konami is just Metal Gear, Soccer, and then I guess some Castlevania.
Yeah, no, I've seen their E3 presentations multiple years in a row. That's their three categories of game.
Does it really add that much? I mean, I don't know if it's worth all the money they're throwing at these kinds of voice actors, right? Like the Elder Scrolls Online, they have all these amazing voice actors. You think anyone plays an MMO for the voice acting?
I think it's a
Patrick
way
Stewart
to...
is cool, but I guess that's a draw, right? You want to...
Yeah, I think it's specifically that it's a way you can spend money on the game and have that also be basically spending your marketing money.
Yeah.
That it's simultaneously advertising and taking care of a line item in the game as well.
That's a really good point, actually.
Because every time they sign, it's such a big deal that, like, Kiefer Sutherland was coming in for Metal Gear. Like, it's because they wanted that headline. So there's that. I mean, it kind of makes sense in big, huge games, I guess. I do think it's better than the, like, on the cheap, get the same people who are just cranking out every, like, JRPG mid-level character over and over again kind of stuff. Yeah. But it is kind of weird.
I will say that in Skyrim, I sided with the not with the Rebellion, but with the other guy. I forget who they were, like the Empire or whatever. Yeah. Because their leader was voiced by Saul Tigh from Battlestar Galactica, and I'll do anything he says. So I guess in that case, it did influence my game.
Well, I mean, he's a Cylon.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's the deal, man?
No, man, you gotta go with Saul Tigh. I don't care. What's his real name? Hogan something. Michael Hogan, I think.
Yeah,
he's awesome. I'll do anything he says. I hope he never asks me to do anything, because I will do anything he says.
Duly noted.
In games.
Does that just mean Henry's a Cylon?
Was that?
Does that just mean Henry's a Cylon then?
I think it does.
Soul. Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. You never know. I have a plan.
All right, but yeah. So while we're on while we were sort of on the topic of Castlevania.
Yes.
So. It's people have been talking about it today. Koji Igarashi is doing a panel at the Game Developers Conference this year on Metroidvania games, which he's clearly qualified to do because he's like the guy for all of the like anything from Symphony to the last DS game. But He's doing the talk at this year's GDC, as opposed to a GDC in a time closer to when he actually made a Metroidvania game.
Well, hey, I mean there are. Well, let's think of it this way: there are a lot of smaller developers out there making Metroidvania games now.
Oh, absolutely.
So I mean, why not
he's talking about it? I just really, I want him to make more of them, and I wonder if you guys think, like, him bringing this up after 5 years of making, like, I don't know, young girl-focused mobile games in Japan only. This seems to be what they're doing. I wonder if they're actually working on something. Also, I wonder what you guys think about him doing something and it's called Metroidvania, and it's him. Like, I don't know. Like, the fact that, like, he invented this game style that existed before this term was coined, and that he's, like, embracing the term. It's interesting.
It just could be maybe he didn't want to, and then he was forced to. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, go ahead, Henry.
If it means more. Metroidvania has never been a dirty term, right? Just because of most of the games that try, at least the ones that try and emulate it, the formula itself is really appealing, especially with those who are fans of like the retro stuff.
Yeah.
Like, Super Metroid and then Symphony of the Night are sort of the two biggest examples. I'm all for it. I don't mind emulating a good idea. So if it leads to more of this, I think that's fine. I don't think it's like a dirty term like let's say, I don't know, like 3D is for movies. There's still sort of that negative connotation, but I'm okay with this.
I mean, Metroidvania itself, just the term itself is kind of silly, but
Yeah, I think the issue is that it's named after games.
But I don't think anyone's come up with something better, unfortunately. I mean,
no. I mean, Shadow. I would say the best example I played recently was Shadow Complex. That's not really that recent, but I've played a ton of them lately. I would like to. Well, Shadow Complex there was tons of them.
You know. So the one issue I have is that like it's a weird genre name. I would use it if people followed me when I say it, because what happens is I end up like saying, Metroidvania. But
do you get blank stares when you say that?
Like but like recursive action platformer to me is like is descriptive of what it is. That it's like the idea is that you are returning to past areas. It is really a subgenre of kind of like action-based platforming.
Mm-hmm. What you just said, Graham, sounds more like a medical procedure than a video game genre.
Okay,
I did like the sound of it. But what was the best couple? I mean, what were the last ones you guys played? Have you been delving into it?
Well, funny you say that.
I am funny.
Yeah, you are hilarious, Henry.
I paid people a seat just like that.
So Monday, a review ran for a little game called Strider, and that is the latest in a long, long line of Metroidvanias, if you will.
I heard the review was done by a really handsome guy.
I don't know.
You can't confirm or deny these allegations?
Confirm nor deny this.
Or deny? Okay, continue.
Yeah. Also, okay, so let me just say, the big draw before I get back to Strider, the big thing about this game is it's basically Castlevania in modern day. So, I don't know.
Are you finally playing now?
Yes, I am actually playing now.
Cutscenes?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I mean, there might be more cutscenes, but...
Oh, I hope so.
Man. Yeah. But yeah, so Strider.
Strider is pretty great, you guys. Now, my experience with the series, I kind of didn't grow up playing those games, except for the one on the Genesis, which I really liked. So I never played the arcade Strider, never played the NES Strider.
Yeah, so the arcade Strider is actually kind of rare in the West.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird because the arcade Strider was difficult to find, and then the NES Strider is totally different from the Genesis Strider, and then there was a sequel on the Genesis that was like not made by anyone who did the first game and generally considered to be horrible. And then there's been like Marvel vs. Capcom appearances.
Yeah, exactly.
Years. So
people have wanted to do Strider for a while, and then I think there have been a couple in development that just ended up getting canceled. But finally, a new Strider is out. It's pretty good, and it's actually like not just carbon copy of the original games. It's actually
and like Double Helix made it.
Double Helix, yeah. But you know what? That Killer Instinct game was supposed to be pretty good. This is pretty good. And then Amazon bought them.
Did they just hire a completely different development team?
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, it has been a while. I mean, what was their... I don't even remember what their last game was before Killer Instinct, but I know they did that... They did one of the Silent Hill games, recent Silent Hill games. I think it was Homecoming, and then they did a couple of other things that weren't that great. But since then, they've been kind of quiet. So maybe they did a lot of restructuring. I don't know.
I mean, with secretly developing two different games, that probably was in the works for a while.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, anyway, it's interesting to see. I'm happy to see them make good games. Like this is great. It's great that they make good games instead of not great games.
Yes.
It's just interesting. I wonder if there was some sort of internal change there. And yeah, there's the Amazon thing. I don't know what's going to happen there, but I'm going to choose not to speculate on that.
That's weird. Who knows? Some people are saying they're going to make another Android-based console. Let's hope not. I hope maybe they're just going to become a game publisher.
No more consoles.
Well, I mean, it's not the craziest thing in the world. They already sell gaming tablets. Like, if they want like a high-quality game developer for their gaming tablets, sure. Like, when Microsoft made the deal with 17-bit, it's like, all right, we're going to put Skulls of Shogun on Windows 8. Like, that made me consider getting Windows 8. I didn't until recently, but and I already got that on a different platform. But the idea of we're going to take an underappreciated developer, fund whatever it is they're doing, and then have a good exclusive. It's hard to get mad at them for that. Of course.
Guys, I'm a rat.
Ray, now I've heard these the stealth portions.
Yes, this seems to be stealth right now.
Okay,
this is probably
every review I've read hates these sections. They say they completely ruin the game. Do they?
I've literally just started this, so far I don't know, but it seems not terrible so far. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's weird since it's just been 2 weeks since our last snack time, but games have kind of started coming out again. You guys.
Yeah.
Woohoo! It's interesting. Okay, let's see. What has come out? Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze came out. I don't know if anyone on staff has gotten to pick that one up yet.
Lightning Returns? Did that come out before?
I was going to ask you about that, Henry, because I know you've been playing Lightning Returns.
I think that came out the day before.
I'm almost done.
Yeah.
I am. I'm really enjoying it. I mean, I read the review on our site. I thought it was pretty fair. I read a lot of other reviews. It's getting, I would say, blasted in most reviews. Right now, it's not at a high sort of Metacritic or whatever average, but steady, consistent improvement in terms of my level of enjoyment, and I'm actually really surprised.
I'm curious, Henry.
Pleasantly surprised.
Just to ask, because I remember when you actually did talk about this just a little bit on the last stream, because it had just come out the day before we did our first snack time, and you said that you weren't too impressed with it so far, and it seemed like you've kind of come around on it since then.
Much better. Sort of like the other game that I can sort of compare it to in terms of switching my enjoyment around this quickly was Breath of Fire 5 Dragon Quarter. I'm so used to traditional Final Fantasy. This game might as well not be called a Final Fantasy. And if I could go back in time and tell myself, I would say just be really patient. It's not a traditional RPG. It's an action game more than it is a Final Fantasy game. But in terms of actual world, what they've done with the overall story and the actual creation of the cities and the worlds and things like that, if you want to call it big fantasy novelists call this world building, I would say they knocked it out of the park in terms of that. In terms of the battle system and the customization, all good. There's a number of different costumes, i.e. sort of they're called schemata, but they're more like paradigms from the first game. Again, that's still satisfying. That switching, fast-paced battle system, really, really good. And I like the idea that it's a very sort of smaller, self-contained story. The 4 worlds are very diverse, and there's a lot of exploration that you can do. The main quests can be done sort of out of order. A lot of the side missions that you gain experience from, you can tell that not all of them are good, but you can tell that they tried. You can tell that they put in a lot of effort, and the concept that everyone is sort of frozen in time, and yet they've all been living like that for about 500 years is sort of that tone is pretty evident, and it sort of combines to make a pretty satisfying experience so far, I would say. The only downside I would have is that it's still, the writing is, I will agree with the reviews, is overall quite weak, and I don't necessarily find Lightning to be sort of an extremely interesting character, but a lot of things what they have done, like throwbacks to previous Final Fantasy games, using their strengths, are amazing. Going back and seeing what the characters have gone through, I find quite satisfying. It's an overall quite a pleasurable experience. So I'm going to give it a high mark when I'm done if it sort of continues at this pace.
Yeah, I think with those reviews, I would say that the ones that there were some positive reviews of that game.
Yes,
and they don't necessarily conflict with the negative reviews. It's just that the appeal is limited and like to who will get through the parts that are frustrating, and it's not sort of universal game, but it's not a bad game. It's just it has an audience that's just limited.
If somebody wants to say this is a horrible game, I can show them a list of many games that are worse. Again, I think people are more sort of sad about the potential of this particular trilogy, the Novella Chrysalis. I think people sort of saw, what 15 turned into, or what turned into 15 verses, and they wanted to see that. But I'm a lot of the decisions they've made, I still think are good. I like the treasure chests, or rather the treasure spheres, make a little noise, so you can sort of hear when one is close, and then you hunt around for that. That's satisfying. Chocobo travel still works really well. The soundtrack is not. It sort of doesn't have those memorable tunes, but I would still not call it anything but fantastic. Every area. Sometimes in RPGs, when I grind, I turn down the volume or just mute it because I just want to maybe have something else playing on in the background. I haven't muted the game once, which I know is sort of a weak sort of backhanded compliment. But no, the sound effects and the music sort of add to the world's mystery, and I sort of wasn't really looking forward to playing it, but I'm very much enjoying it. I'm glad that I stuck with it.
I think my problem with it, I've only played 13 and like the demo of 13.2. I think I haven't tried Lightning Returns yet at all. But I mean, to be fair, before I say anything else, this game seems incredibly different from what the trajectory of the series is so radically different from the first game in just about every way, other than the fact that the same characters are involved, and it kind of wraps up that story supposedly.
2 is very different from 13, and Lightning Returns is very different from both of them.
Which, that's neat, but at the same time, like, Final Fantasy 13 just left me with such a bad taste in my mouth. Like, I like the battle system enough, but everything else about it was such a bummer to me. So that's kind of why I've been put off to, like, try 13.2 more and also try this, but, maybe someday I'll go back to them and check them out.
I completely understand. I mean, this is one of those things where I'm going to love all 3 games of the trilogy. I wouldn't say they necessarily hold up to actual critical scrutiny. I totally get when I read people's complaints about it. They're very valid. I totally understand. I guess maybe I've sort of a bit of a soft spot for the franchise and for these kinds of games, so looking for the bright spots, I guess.
Andrew, what is going on in this game that you're playing right now?
Oh well, I'm sneaking in this corporation that has possible connections to Satan's revival, and I just grabbed this heart and I drank the blood out of it, and then I
gotta say the lighting looks really good. At least like it seems to be a good looking game. See, this game doesn't look that great actually. No,
I'm gonna be honest. Now the first Lords of Shadow looked really good. Really good. Maybe it doesn't hold up that well, but I remember it looking incredible. Now, this game has a great, I think, art design. The art design is fantastic. It's just the technical limitations of these consoles is kind of coming through here. It's not...
Yeah.
This doesn't really look like a Castlevania game at all, though. I mean, it looks similar probably to Lords of Shadow, the first one, right?
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's also modern day right now, so it's kind of not exactly the same. Like the first game was definitely set more in the same time period you would see the other Castlevania games, but this one is even more kind of modernized. Even though right now the area I'm running through is not at all modernized. It's some very strange things going on right now.
Okay. Yeah, but anyway. And you mentioned that like the art design, the direction is great, but the technical issues, they're just trying to shoehorn something that won't work onto a platform that can't handle it.
Exactly.
Imagine if the platform were way less capable, and the exact same people were making a game, and that they designed for it, even as large as this is, but they just didn't at all take into account that it's not that powerful.
Uh-huh.
And that's Mirror of Fate.
I wonder if that game is better on consoles.
I don't know. Will the mouths move in that game? They made some weird design choices to try to take advantage of the 3D, but then the 3D wouldn't work because if you turned it on, I never complain about frame rate. Like, I'm not that guy. Mm-hmm. It goes down to like 2 or 3 frames a second.
Oh, jeez,
that's pretty bad. Well, then you might as well animate your own game at that point.
Yeah, and then all the characters are down to 8 polygons a piece. Like, it's not. It's really bad.
Graham, Graham, sorry, I was going to ask you. We got hung up on me. Have you played any recent releases?
Yeah, so I've been playing Stick of Truth. You want me to tell you about South Park Stick of Truth?
I'm so jealous. I can't wait to get it. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so let me tell you all about it. But 1 second, let me check this embargo. Okay, I can tell you that it is a series of audiovisual stimuli affected in some part by player input.
What?
And Cartman's in it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That second one was more surprising than the first.
Yeah. Yeah, so still under embargo on that one, but I did finish it up today.
Did you get the censored version?
No, I am not playing a console version in Europe or Australia.
Good.
If you're in those regions, you can play the PC version, and it's fine. And I can also say pretty safely, without breaking embargo, that the scenes listed as the embargoed scenes, there are a couple things, and they're horrible, but
not entirely crucial to the enjoyment of the game.
The game is not tame without them.
Okay, right.
They didn't get rid of the gross, horrible scenes. They got rid of the somewhat would cause a political firestorm sort of stuff.
Yeah, not a game for the squeamish. Basically, how close is it to the show? I've heard
it is the show. Okay, that I can say.
Right.
I'm not going to say much more than that, but it is the show. It is not some tamed down version of the show.
It's an MLB game.
Yes, right.
Okay.
It will be the show.
Okay.
You're just the Rockies because it's Colorado.
Got it.
So yeah, it's just yeah.
Jokes.
I've heard it's very similar to Paper Mario. How do you respond to that? I know you love that game.
Seriously, probably shouldn't say anything about it until next Tuesday at 12:01 a.m. Pacific time. Check Snack Bar for the review that I've already written half of.
Can't wait.
I know what else you've played though, Graham.
Yeah, so I've actually been playing quite a bit of stuff. What do you want to ask me about?
I don't know. Inazuma 11, that thing that you seem to love, and now it is out in the U.S.
So since we last talked, it was announced and then immediately released.
Which is kind of crazy.
Everyone bought it because I told you to, right? Everybody?
I'll get to that. Don't worry.
Will you?
I'm going to break this furniture right now, though, in this game.
Very satisfying breaking furniture.
Yeah.
All the furniture in Inazuma 11 stays intact because it's practical. They use it. Actually, no, you don't. Actually,
you should have put that as a negative in your review.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But yeah, so Inazuma 11 is out in the West, you guys.
Yeah.
Well, it's out in North America. It's been out in Europe for a while. So that game's super good, and the version released here is not a bad version of it. It is interesting, I actually did. I was pretty well vindicated with that Nintendo Direct on my localization radar. So I was like, or Level 5 could just release the first one by itself digitally. Check. So that totally happened. So the thing about it is a DS game that is upscaled, but it's a pixel art game. So there's only one section in which that's kind of awkward, and it's the overworld. Because the battles are all pixel art, and so they're fine. They don't they just show you slightly more of the area. It's nice, but the overworld is polygons with sprites on them, and the polygons look way better than they did in the DS version.
Right.
The sprites are slightly muddled, when you're playing a DS game on the 3DS, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever experienced that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that part's a little weird. Really, really liked the British voices in the European version. And this version does not have those, but I looked into that, and like apparently there are also like separate dubs of the show, and they all use the same voice actors, and I don't know, that seems crazy. Like, I don't know why you do that, but just how like how fun it was to play like Xenoblade Chronicles in the last story.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just the accent or if it's that all these voice actors are people we haven't heard before, or that it kind of gives it a sense of place. Yeah. But soccer's like it's beneficial to soccer for there to be British voices. Like, they do that on like American television. You have British announcers and stuff because like it's better. It's like it's more authentic.
The Brits were born to commentate. It's what they're best at.
Yeah. But still, it is still the same game. It's really good. You should probably play it.
This is just... Yeah. I don't know if you actually answered this question, but this is actually the first Inazuma 11 game, right?
Yes.
Okay. So do you think we'll get more of them? Do you think we'll get the others sometime, like the actual 3DS ones? Is it just depending on how well this does?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely depends on how well this does, and people should buy it. That said, I don't really know about Inazuma 11 2. That's the weird thing. Is I think if we get Inazuma 11 2, we will get Inazuma 11 3.
Okay.
But like, since they're having to do all like the voice work and stuff again on this, they have to do that again with 2. 3 is already like, they released 3 on the instead of the original DS version, they released the upgraded 3DS version in Europe. So like, they've already kind of gotten that working and standalone, so it will probably be easier, even if they're re-recording audio, to release that here. They haven't gotten any of the Inazuma 11 Go stuff, like the 3DS native games, out like in Europe yet. But whatever, they released all 3 versions of Inazuma 11 3. Like, there were 2 versions and like a 3rd bonus version. They released all of them. So if that keeps going, then I think we might be able to hitch along for the ride. So I'm hopeful there.
All right.
But yeah, the first one may be slightly simpler in terms of like mechanics, but it's still very fun. And then like the plot is way better in that it was kind of designed as like a success story where you come up from nothing to like win big stuff. And then, like, they had to keep making stories where they're already, like, the best country, and it's just like, well, I don't know.
Are they going to play a team like Space Jam, like from outer space?
Okay, so you brought this up. So I'm going to immediately transition. Space Jam 2 is happening, you guys?
I know.
Wait, so is that... So that's
excited about this.
That's the thing. I haven't heard anything about this since the day it was announced, but it was announced, and then I heard that it was completely fake. And then I heard it was real again. I don't know what to believe. Is it actually happening?
So it is actually happening as far as we know.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if there's a script yet, but they've gotten I think a director or an EP, or they got like some like behind the scenes guy, and supposedly they have LeBron James signed on. Like, yeah. I think that's as far as they've gotten.
I'm so excited. I know. I hope. I don't even care how good or terrible it is. It's just such a crazy concept that you think like can't be revived. Like, I know they revive a lot of 80s stuff, but like 90s stuff is just like, what are we thinking? Like, that's never going to work again, and they're doing it again. I love it.
Well, all I want for it to be any good is for it to like try to justify some sort of like plot connections to the first one.
Oh man!
And like the reasons they come to LeBron and not MJ. Like, I want MJ in there in some way, but he's like, "Sorry, man, I can't play." Like I want that. I want like
there will be some. He will absolutely make a cameo, guaranteed.
I hope so.
Then the thing is, like, getting back the original cast is going to be difficult.
It will be,
especially like Bill Murray. I don't know.
I don't know if Bill Murray can run anymore. He's getting up there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, CG.
Man, I saw a mod. Did you guys see the modded video of NBA 2K14 where they created that just looked crazy fun.
There have been a lot of those NBA 2K14 mods, and the one thing I got super mad about was that they didn't mod in the like half-court arm stretch dunk. Because
I know.
Come on, what are you doing? if an actual game put in, that's the thing is if they release a new thing, then they could totally have a marketing tie-in where there's like I don't know if it's DLC or unlockable or something. Just put the Toon Squad in like a new NBA Jam or something. Like come on,
right?
Or just make NBA Jam Space Jam edition. NBA Space Jam.
They did that. It's a PlayStation game called Space Jam.
Yeah, I know. Do it again.
Yeah, I know. I agree. They should. Yep.
That would be one piece of DLC they would. I'm sure they would do well selling.
I buy it.
I would too. I don't even like basketball games, and I would buy that one.
Yeah.
Whoa! Anyway. I didn't go down there.
Andrew, we've been talking about Space Jam the whole time, which is sort of a very interesting
very
counterpoint to the game you're playing, because the game you're playing has about as much blood as I've ever seen in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah,
everything you kill explodes in blood. Maybe I watched the G-rated version of Space Jam.
Yeah, you watched the cable edit. Yeah,
there's usually a ton more blood.
There's a lot more necromancy.
The Tasmanian Devil just goes crazy on shit.
Yeah.
On stuff. Sorry.
Whatever. If you've gotten this far and you've watched this footage of Castlevania, I think you can deal. Yeah, we've gone down the rabbit hole.
And Andrew, you are currently you're still eating those hearts. That looks good.
Mm-hmm. Delicious.
This looks so much like Devil May Cry. I can't get over it. Even the red blood and the orbs.
Some would say it's more God of War than Devil May Cry, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Definitely just character action game.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying yourself so far?
It seems okay so far. Yeah. The thing about the first game is the first game had a slow start. This seems to have a bit of a slow start. I apologize if this isn't the most exciting stream, but
well, I gotta think you're climbing up the ice waterfall there. That's cool.
But hey,
so I'm interested to know how this and the first game appeals to you, Andrew.
Yeah.
What is it you like about this game?
All right. Well,
you want to play?
All right. So, So I really love Castlevania. I don't have the key for this thing yet. I really love Castlevania.
Okay. But this isn't really that.
This isn't really that, no. But I was very curious to see a different take on the series because honestly, as much as I loved those Metroidvania Castlevanias, if you will, I really was getting tired of them, and I think a lot of people were. I mean, I know people were like crazy. I think people are like all over. Like they want Konami to bring those back. They want
free Iga.
Yeah, they want that stuff back. And hey, I wouldn't mind playing one of those again because it's actually been a while at this point. But like the last couple on DS, I didn't think were that great. Like the last Castlevania game I really liked before Lords of Shadows was Dawn of Sorrow, which is the first
Dawn of Sorrow,
DS
I was going to say.
Yeah. Portrait of
was pretty good.
And the other one whose name I always forget.
Order of Ecclesia?
Yeah, that one. I didn't care for those as much. They were okay, but
I heard the last one was super good, so I don't know.
It
also
okay.
like the characters made it different. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it was okay. I mean, and then of course there was that XBLA, PSN, Castlevania. That wasn't even really Castlevania either.
Yeah, Castlevania HD.
Yeah, that was just bad.
Well, here's the thing. It is not bad if you play it with 3 other people locally on the PSN port. Yeah. The XBLA version never had local, but the PSN one had. Okay. No, but you can only play 4 instead of 6, which makes beating the final boss, I'm going to say, improbable. I bet someone could do it, but we definitely tried for a whole evening, and we just nailed all of the shots and just couldn't do it. So it doesn't really scale. So
anyway, to basically answer your question, I wanted to see Castlevania go in a different direction, and this is pretty much. I mean,
this is a different direction.
I mean, the other 3D Castlevania games kind of had some of this, Devil May Cry like combat, at least the PS2 ones, but none of them were very good.
Great.
No, they were mediocre to bad. Like
I mean, they were better than Castlevania 64, but
yes, but
almost anything is better than
but they kind of followed that pattern. Is the thing.
Whoops! I shouldn't have got. Oh wait, no.
Okay.
Anyway, so. I was just interested in a different take. I decided to check it out. It seemed like a cool alternative take on the series, and I really like the story in the game. Most of all, like once you get into it, the story is actually really interesting. I just like the mythos they establish. I like how they take established Castlevania lore and kind of just play around with it, kind of reboot it, but also stick with some established things from the series, like the Belmonts and whatnot.
I guess you can hardly blame them for trying like so many wacky things, right? I mean, anytime you got like a franchise which has, I mean, how many Castlevania games have there been? 15, 20?
A lot, way too many to count.
Too many. But like, I'll give this kind of a game a pass if the story is completely wacky, as long as it plays well and is fun. Because there's really only so many ways you can do Guy Kills Dracula.
That's
right.
True.
Like I get it. Like, I know other games are not about the story. You could do Woman Kills Dracula. You could do a number of different things, which they have obviously done.
Kills Dracula.
Oh man.
You could do You Are Dracula.
Hey.
You could do Dog is Dracula. No, I don't know.
Hey. Okay.
But I like
this.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Andrew is Dracula?
I might be.
No, I mean, he is at the moment.
But Grip, you and I can't go. We don't like sunlight.
Well, we don't like sunlight. What are you asking?
Well, vampires don't like sunlight, so maybe we're Dracula.
Okay. Back this up. Some more evidence besides lack of melanin.
We like kissing girls' necks.
What?
Well, I do. I mean,
what is going on
I do.
here?
I don't. What?
I'm trying to think of evidence.
I don't impale them with teeth.
No.
Okay.
No, of course not. I guess we'd be more like
the
pussy vampires from Twilight.
I don't want to know what you're into over there.
I do look good in black. Black's a slimming color. I like that.
Okay.
Right.
Although you're wearing this red cape thing.
So it really sounds like you're Dracula.
I am.
Okay. Well, we figured it out.
Cool. Just wanted to get that out there.
Yeah.
Going. I love these little segues. I don't mind from a game like this. If people are expecting like a really good story from Castlevania, I think their expectations are too high.
I mean, yeah, Castlevania's never had a great story, but like I said, Lords of Shadow 1 had a pretty cool story. This game, the setup for this game is cool. I don't know if it's going to pay off at all. Maybe, maybe not. Again, I'm only less than an hour into it, but it seems interesting so far. I just think the whole playing as Dracula thing is really cool because no Castlevania. Well, wasn't there a spin-off where you played?
Well, Castlevania 3, you played as Alucard.
Well, there was Kid Dracula. Kid Dracula. Where you played as Kid Dracula.
Kid Dracula. Yeah, okay, that's the closest we've come to playing as Dracula in a Castlevania.
Well, I mean, you were still Dracula. You were just a kid.
Yeah,
you're a Kid Dracula.
Yeah. But yeah, so
Graham, are you? Yeah. Sorry, Andrew, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, but yeah, besides that, which that came out here, this is the first. It's just interesting to me. I like.
And just to tie in, was there anything about you trying the first Lords of Shadow that was incentivized by the fact that Patrick Stewart was in it?
Hey, you know
what? That's the only reason I bought it.
No. I mean, if he wasn't in it, I still would have checked it out. But it was nice.
I know people like that trailer, and he was like all
Hey man,
all up
those
in
were some
trailer.
good trailers. Those were some good trailers.
Yeah.
So yeah. Lords of Shadow, pretty cool.
Graham, are you compelled to play this game based on what we've seen so far?
No, I'm not going to play this game.
No.
Did you play the first at all, or did you just play Mirror of Fate?
I played a little bit of the first. It's really, really, really not my type of game.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean it doesn't have merit. It just means it's not my type of game.
Graham, that's a refreshing attitude.
Yeah.
Way to stay positive. I like it. Andrew, are you going to play this thing the whole way through, or what do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am actually reviewing this for this site, so.
Oh well, there you go.
Yep.
Nice.
So I will have more. I will have more on this game in the near future.
Right.
Yeah.
In terms of other stuff I've been playing, I've also been playing The New Thief.
Yes.
Ooh.
Which
now that has also been pretty divisive.
Yes.
They should have just named it The New Thief.
Like The New Thief.
New Thief. Yeah.
New Thief.
Like a Saturday morning cartoon version of Thief. The New Thief.
They should have. They could have.
Yeah.
But I mean, so unlike Castlevania, despite my love of stealth games, I have only played maybe an hour of one Thief game before, and that was Thief 2 because my dad had it, and I was like, "This seems pretty cool," and then I just got bored and never came back to it. It's not a bad game. It's probably a great game, but I didn't play stealth games much back when that came out, except for maybe that was the same year as Metal Gear, wasn't it? I don't know. I think so. I think
same year as Metal Gear?
What's that?
It was not released in the late 80s.
No, Metal Gear Solid. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's not the same year.
That's what I meant. Yeah, same year as Metal Gear Solid.
How's Thief?
Thief is someone coming to it as someone who's not really doesn't have the nostalgia for the old games. You know, I think it's pretty. I don't think it's great, but I think it's pretty enjoyable so far. I think it has its moments. I think the story is super dumb. The story is super dumb in the worst ways. It's not like entertaining dumb. Oh, jeez, something bad happened. Sorry. It's not really interesting at all. It's really boring. It's one of those rare examples of a game where I find myself just wanting to skip cutscenes and get to actual sneaking around stuff. So that stuff's bad.
No, that's too bad.
Yeah, but
why is it bad? Is it poorly written, or just the
very
scenario's
poorly
dumb?
written,
Or
the voice acting is awful. All of the NPCs, like the guards and stuff, like to say friggin' a lot. Like friggin' this, friggin' that. Like this friggin' thief is like getting on my nerves. Like, I'm not even joking. I've heard that dozens of times in this game so far. It's the weirdest thing. I don't get it. I don't know what they're going for, but that's a thing. Maybe all the NPCs are voiced by like two guys, and they just decided to improv that as a joke, and then they kept it in. I don't know. It's really weird. But yeah, it's not really. It's just a poor story. It's just not interesting. Nothing exciting is happening. Like, basically, your main character has to go steal stuff, and then some crazy occult stuff happens in between that has nothing to do with much of anything, it seems, and then it does all of a sudden, and then it doesn't. I don't know. It's just, it's weird. It's bad. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, the gameplay itself is okay. The actual main missions are really kind of linear, which is weird considering they advertise this game as not linear at all. But there are a lot of little side missions you can go on, like kind of odd jobs throughout the hub world.
There are odd jobs?
Yes, odd job is in this game. Cool. It's very random. I don't know. I don't get what they were going for there, but yeah. So random missions throughout the city. Those just are basically just like go in, steal the stuff, get out, and those are probably the best parts of the game so far because they're not bogged down by this dumb story, and they actually aren't super linear like the main missions are. So, and the actual mechanics of sneaking around and stealing stuff and the base of the game is solid. It's just so far it doesn't seem like they're doing a ton with it. So,
from what I saw, it looks like I don't know. It just looks like so many other new games. Like, to me, it didn't look any different from a lot of other games I look at, and maybe I didn't give it a fair chance, but I saw that and I'm like, nothing really sort of dragged me in terms of like a competitive advantage over a similar kind of 3D person or a 3D game with stealth portions. Like, it didn't, do you know what I mean? It didn't really like grab me right away.
Yeah, I understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, which is not fair. I mean, I definitely shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but I mean, this is the kind of game where like if reviews were amazing, I might have gotten around to playing it, but from what I've heard from you and other places, I'm probably not going to give it a chance.
Unless you're a hardcore stealth guy, I don't see it being something you'd like. And I know you played Dishonored fairly recently, and you really liked it, right?
Yeah, I did. Absolutely, yeah. I did. Yeah.
It's hard going from Dishonored to this game, which feels so restricted and kind of tame in comparison. Like, of course, Dishonored had all these crazy powers and stuff, which kind of set it above and beyond most stealth games. Thief doesn't have any of that, but even just kind of the basics are very kind of just in comparison.
How many times have we seen that where like a long dormant franchise that was very sort of influential and so many games build on that different series and build on what they did and they're so good, and like a new game of that series comes out and everyone gets really, really hyped and it's not that good anymore? It reminds me of kind of what happened to The Matrix. So when in 1999 when it first came out, it was absolutely amazing, but the bullet time was so impressive. But then everybody started using bullet times, so when the 2003 Reloaded came out, it's like when they use bullet time, I'm like, oh, this again? Like, even if it was slightly better than in the first one, it's like so many people have built on what they've done that it's so much harder to, I guess, surpass our expectations in that regard.
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I think it's really sad because the last game the Eidos Montreal did was Deus Ex Human Revolution, which I thought was really good.
It was.
So I mean, that was reviving a classic franchise, and a lot of people were scared of that one. Like a lot of people were worried about that one coming out and kind of being a lot like the second Deus Ex game, which was not so great compared to the first.
Invisible War. Yeah.
Yeah, but it turned out to be really, really good, and that's why I had high hopes for Thief, because even though some of the previews and whatnot weren't super optimistic about it, I was like, you know what? I think this could be okay. I don't have.
I think our preview was pretty super optimistic.
What's that?
I think our preview was actually pretty super optimistic.
Oh, okay. Well, there were definitely optimistic previews. I'm just saying, I feel like the general consensus, even from people who, whether or not you actually came from the background of having played those games growing up or when they came out, I feel like a lot of people were just kind of down on it up until its release. And yeah, I mean, it's not terrible. It's a decent game so far. It's just hard to go from something like I said, something like Dishonored, which again came out a couple years ago now at this point, to Thief, which seems so bare bones. So yeah, that's that.
So let me ask you a question about this thing that we are watching.
Please.
I would ask what is going on again, but I don't think that'll help. So I'll ask this: is there a setting in the menu to turn off the blood?
To turn off the blood? Why would you want to turn? Why would you want to turn off the blood?
There is so much blood in this game.
I'm gonna check right now just for you.
I don't mean like offensively so. It's just like ridiculous. I'm all for like exploding enemies, but like there's like blood coming out of the walls and everything.
There's no turn off blood. I think if you just turned off the blood in this game, the game would just turn off. I think that's the turn off blood option. Xbox
here's the remove blood setting. Turn off the game.
Yeah. But funny enough, there is a remove QuickTime events option in this game, which I've never seen before, and I did immediately because I am really tired of QuickTime events in games. So if you ever see anything where it looks like it should be a QuickTime event, it probably is, but I turned it off. So there's that. It's very weird. It basically just removes the QuickTime event and it just shows a cinematic or something, and the thing just plays out as it normally would.
Okay. So can you just turn off all the gameplay?
Again, that probably would just require turning off the game. And it seems fun so far.
More blood. This guy's jumping out of a pool of blood.
Are you guys just not fans of blood in video games?
No. I'm fine with blood, man. It's just funny. There's just so much of it.
It's a game about Dracula.
He makes a good point.
What do you expect?
I expect it. I'm just curious because sometimes games do that, and I didn't know if they would go that far in here. But yeah, I don't know.
I mean, if you didn't care for the first Lords of Shadow, you probably won't care for this one. It seems to be more of the same. I think the combat. I think they're doing a little more with the combat. Like there are different weapons / abilities you have that you can kind of toggle on and off at will, and the fluidity of that is really nice so far. Again, I'm not super far into it, but I don't know. It seems solid so far. I'm gonna eat another heart. Here we go. More blood for you guys.
Awesome.
Okay. That's fine. But yeah. Okay. So. Okay. There's something I was curious about. There have been so there's a lot of sales going on right now, right?
Yes.
Like things where you can spend less money for stuff, not like nautical aids. I guess.
I love sailing in games.
So there's a new Humble Bundle. You guys have any thoughts on the Humble Bundle?
It's pretty great.
It's okay.
It's got some good stuff.
It's got. I bought it immediately. Mainly because I saw the price. It was still sub $4, and that was an amount I was willing to pay for Antichamber. So I just went ahead and got everything else with it.
There you go.
It is interesting to me because since Fez has been in multiple bundles now,
yeah,
it's become this thing where it's like I got a copy of Fez, Anybody want it? Please take my copy of Fez. By the way, guys, I have a copy of Fez. Anybody want it? This is the current problem that I have.
Fez is a fantastic game.
It's a fantastic game. It's just like, well,
everyone should have it.
Everyone already does, I guess.
There's another badge of shame I need to add to my wall of badges of shame.
Do you have a copy of Fez, Henry?
I think I must have one, but I just...
If you don't, let me know.
I feel like this happened. This actually happened a couple years ago with Bastion. Once it came to PC,
yep,
it was in a bunch of. I think that's, and I think Limbo might be the same thing. Both those
but
two.
The thing was, I think Bastion wasn't in like back-to-back bundles.
Okay.
It was in like some special bundle, and then it was in the main bundle, and it's like, well, great.
If you say bundle a bunch of times, it's going to sound really weird. So.
Bundle.
Bumble.
Did you say Bumble?
Yeah, Buck. I was thinking Buck Bumble. Bumble sounds like bundle.
I'm going to turn into a rat, guys. Is that okay? All right.
No, don't. I hear those sections suck, but I kind of want to see them now.
Fine. But yeah, so... Okay, so what else is in the bundle?
You would like to see more variety in the bundles, Graham?
Well, no. I just think it's interesting how this thing that's like totally like good and desirable like turns into like irrelevant so quickly. It's just like, well, I got this copy. I don't know.
There's just too many. There's so many.
It just reminds me of the time that like there was one summer when Paradox sent us like 90 copies of Magicka.
What? I vaguely
remember
Magicka. Yeah.
I was like, anybody want a copy of Magicka? Please take a copy of Magicka from me.
Did any of the copies work?
Yeah, no, they all did.
It's funny, actually. Despite that, I think I still don't have a copy of Magicka.
What?
I don't think, unless it's on my Steam library, I just don't have it installed.
I liked Magicka when it worked. But I bought it. I made the mistake of buying it at launch, and it was not. Really.
It totally worked as long as you didn't like. As long as you played it right.
I agree. Oh, if you played it right, yeah.
I had to people in a room.
I had to like convince my computer to let me load the correct save data on that one. It ended up I had to download like specific save files to get to where I was back, but of course I didn't have the same equipment. Blah blah blah. Yeah, numerous bugs and crashes. I love that. I mean, it was really funny. Like super hilarious, and the hectic. I mean, the only way to describe it as hectic multiplayer stuff was great. But
you hadn't joined the site when that game came out, did you? You weren't here yet. You weren't with the site when that game came out, right?
I don't think so. I think yeah.
So we had an interview with them when they like announced probably the most ridiculous expansion at that point.
It was the Vietnam.
Yeah. Since then, we've had some pretty crazy, like Saints Row games and stuff. But at the time, it's just like, what is happening with this?
That's a wacky one.
So we interviewed them about it, and they were really frank. It was like, yeah, we released a broken game, and we're sorry about that. We shouldn't do that. We didn't know better. Like how frank they were about it was just great.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, that's better than hiding it. There was that interview with EA recently where this guy was complaining about the launches, and the guy's like, "No, the launches went really well. What are you talking about?"
Yeah, there's this like kind of PR spin where they have to keep a straight face about stuff, but just like, no, well, we messed up. We'll make good on it. Like there's something refreshing about that.
Right.
But yeah. Okay. So let's see. The Swappers in the new indie bundle.
Before we move on, I was going to say, what other games are actually in that bundle besides Feds and Antichamber? Just as a refresher.
So I was actually going to go through it a little bit. You interrupt me.
All right.
Okay. So there's the Swapper. There's Dust and Elysian Tale, which we...
I want to play that one.
Yeah. One of our writers, Chris Dominowski, interviewed the guy who made that game.
Yep.
Just recently. So that's a pretty good game. You should check it out. Let's see. What else is in the bundle? Monaco is in the bundle. If you haven't played Monaco, it's great.
Monaco is great. Yes.
If you have, it's also great.
It continues to be great, whether or not you've played it.
Yeah. What else is in that bundle? Oh man, I feel like there's something I'm forgetting.
You have the power of the internet to help.
I do have the power of the internet. I'm working at it. All right, Guacamelee.
Guacamelee is great too. Speaking of Metroidvanias.
Metroidvania.
Yeah.
Well, Dust kind of too.
Yes, Dust kind.
To a lesser extent.
That's true.
And Gianna Sisters Twisted Dreams. And then they unlocked 3 more games this week when I'm Fez. At Starseed Pilgrim and Beat Buddy.
I don't know the last one.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like for a while there, it was the thing where you basically got the previous Humble Bundle when they unlocked it in the second week, and it hasn't really been that lately. There's been like some new stuff, some repeat stuff, which is interesting. I don't know.
I think it's cool that they bring back some stuff. I mean,
well, yeah, it's just it was predictable for the longest time, and now it's not predictable, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. What this is Humble Bundle 11?
Yes.
And there have been like various other Humble Bundles that aren't like numbered.
Yeah.
Like there was the Sid Meier one recently, which was great.
Yep.
Otherwise,
yeah.
Many Double Fine bundles.
There was the EA bundle.
Yeah, EA. They had the THQ bundle one before they went under.
There's the Deep Silver one.
Yeah. But you know, those are great. I think that's cool that bigger companies.
Yeah, I mean, they aren't calling them an indie bundle.
Yeah,
it's just and like whatever. Like the EA one was like all for charity. Like I don't think anyone should have got mad at that at all. Also, like now I have copies of those games, and they're pretty good games for controller support. So that part's good.
But it's the kind of situation where EA can't win. It's like if they do what they normally do, people are going to complain. If they do something nice, they're like, people will be like, "Ooh, EA tried to be nice all of a sudden." It's like, but that doesn't stop them from what they're doing being nice and good. So
whatever to those people.
Also, to respond to Ingersoll in the chat, this is way too industrial because this is kind of modern day. So that's why.
Yeah.
In case you missed the beginning of the stream.
But so also going on right now, there's like 8 separate PSN sales right now.
I know that if you have PlayStation Plus, you can get Ni no Kuni for a ridiculously awesome price, and you should if you don't have it.
And again, all of your hard drive space.
All of your hard drive space. That's true. Yeah.
But also you can get Tales of Exilia for $15.
Oh man!
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, it's download version, but
I gotta start waiting for some of these things. Didn't Tales of Exilia come out less than a year ago?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Well, it's part of the Best of 2013 sale, or Back to 2013, I guess is what they're calling it. But yeah,
I hope this is a trend, because with new consoles now out, I'm assuming a lot of old school games are going to be very old school, quote unquote, are going to be very cheap, just like that.
Yeah. Like I know, like all of like the Injustice stuff is on sale right now and that stuff.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, but like definitely it's one of those things where picking up JRPGs is pretty good. Though it's weird because we're conditioned to think that JRPGs get more and more expensive, but that's really only true in like the physical copy market, right? And like we've seen all this stuff, like all these Atlas PSP sales and all these Xseed Vita sales, and it's like you can just get this stuff, and like now you can get a Tales game for $15. Like the digital market's not going to bottom out and then go back up in the way that physical copies do.
Right.
Anyway, but there's some cool stuff. Maybe you should check it out.
Yeah, for sure. That deal. I mean, for me, any Tales game now. I mean, I've played the last. What I'm trying to think, like 3 or 4, and anytime you can get an RPG of like that, especially for $15.
Also, that Tales is the best Tales so far.
I'll disagree with you there, but it's
arguably the best Tales so far.
It's arguably the best. Oh, it's certainly arguably, at the very least, $15 is a ridiculously good deal.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the best.
Yeah.
I still have a soft spot for Vesperia, but I think the battle system is still it's an improvement.
I think Vesperia is the best one too, but that doesn't negate that.
Vesperia is pretty good, but like I know I've played a lot of both Graces F and Symphonia Chronicles recently. Symphonia of Chronicles only played like a little bit of, but like that game's just like it modernizes it in very smart ways that make it less tedious to play.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Anyway, but yeah. So speaking of stuff that's downloadable, hey Andrew, you want to talk about like add-on content, downloadable stuff? Because you wrote a New Game Plus about that.
I did. I wrote about specifically